recording. Sue Moroney.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and it's great to get an opportunity to focus on the labour market estimates part of this debate, and in particular I want to talk about, because I don't think the National Government will want to talk about, the shambles that the ACC motor vehicle levy system has been, that they've introduced through this estimates procedure, because Mr. Chair, it has been like watching a slow-motion car wreck, because every other day there is a new problem that arises from what should have been a good news story from the government. It should have been a good news story from the government, but they won't even ask themselves patsy questions about it at question time, because it has turned out to be such a shambles for them. Why has it been a shambles? Well, it's been a shambles because the minister has made a fundamental error in changing the model. If the minister had not done that, what she told the Select Committee was that every person with a motor vehicle that was petrol-driven would have got their ACC levies for their motor vehicle registration reduced to $104 a year. So everyone would have got that reduction. And if it had been a non-petrol vehicle, everyone would have got a reduction to $186 per annum. But what happened instead? Actually, more than 1 million people have ended up paying more than they needed to in ACC levies for motor vehicle registration because of decisions that minister made. A decision to go to a model that not only is unfair and confusing, but it turns out has been expensive to administer and has made plenty of mistakes already. And this is a system that just came into being on the 1st of July this year. Already that minister has had to backtrack and reclassify the vehicle registrations and the levies for 24 models and counting. And I say and counting because in the first week alone she had to backtrack on 18 classifications, 18 models. That's not just 18 individual vehicles, that's 18 models of cars that had to be reclassified. A couple of days later, that number had increased to 22 models, and as of today, it's sitting at 24 models that have had to be reclassified. That is utter chaos. But the worst thing about this, Mr. Chair, is that it's simply a shift of the costs. It shifts the costs for motor vehicle registration from those who have the resources to buy the latest, greatest car and onto those who don't have the income resources to buy the latest, flashiest motor vehicle. How does it do that? Well, it actually gives $41 million in savings to people at the top who can afford the better cars, and it shifts $41 million onto those who can least afford it. And who are those people? They are the young. The people, our children who are buying their first cars. It is the elderly, people on fixed incomes who buy, as they come up to their retirement ages, buy the car that will last them through their retirement. They are the people who are going to be pinged by this and are paying more than what they should, not because ACC made a mistake, not because the ACC system is in trouble, but because that minister made a fundamental mistake. She brought the argument that somehow, if people could save a few dollars every year on their motor vehicle registration, that suddenly that was going to give them the thousands of dollars that they would need to upgrade their car to the latest, greatest model. Well, Minister, that is just a folly, and everyone in New Zealand knows it. So we've ended up in a situation where this should have been a good news story for all New Zealanders and for the government, because it should have been that everyone got a reduction in their levy. For most of us, it would have been $104 that it would have been reduced to. But instead, we've got this complete chaos going on with a system that is fundamentally flawed. And I can guarantee the House this is not the end of this story, because every day that goes by, more and more vehicles are going to be reassessed. And then there's the sleight of hand.
I call Clayton Mitchell.
Chair, I think I might be the final speaker on this Appropriations, Economic Development and Infrastructure debate.